Anthony Scaramuche, former White House communications director and founder of Skybridge Capital, and Nathan Gonzalez, my old colleague, editor and publisher of Inside Elections. Anthony, I do want to start with you here because honestly, for all intents and purposes, if we look at a collection of sound bites from you, you were radicalized. And I want to hear how you became unradicalized. Let's start with some old sound from you.
That's another hack politician.
You call Donald Trump a hack?
He's a hack politician. I'll tell you who he's going to be president of. You can tell Donald I said this. The Queens County Bullies Association.
I think he's got some of the best political instincts in the world and perhaps in history. But I love the president, and I'm very, very loyal to the president. And I love the mission that the president has. He's genuinely a wonderful human being.
So, Anthony, we just saw that I have not been quiet about the fact that I don't want to be a part of this effort to sanitize people who rocked really hard with Trump and then thought better of it later. But because, as we just saw, you appear to have been radicalized by the MAGA party, I'm curious, what's your advice on how we unradicalize people who have drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak?
So, Tiffany, first of all, I wasn't radicalized. I was a standard garden variety Republican, and many standard garden variety Republicans got trapped in the same dilemma that I was in. So was not radicalized. And I think you're making a mistake about the whole sanitization thing, because you've got 74 million people that voted for Mr. Trump, and not all of them are hardcore MAGA people. There's probably 40 or 50 million people that we need to create an off-ramp for so that we can unite and heal the country. So if you go in that direction with that high sanctimony and that high moral righteousness, I think it's going to be very damaging for the country going forward. You're going to keep the country.
Well, I don't know if it's high sanctimony or high moral righteousness. Fair enough, but I don't know if it's high sanctimony or high moral righteousness.
Right now that
well, let me say, Anthony.
All right, you're gonna talk over me. Go ahead.
Well, let me just say, I think
you're not
that
going to let
Trump,
me speak, but go ahead.
No, you'll have opportunity to speak. I know you love the camera. I think that there is a lot of people, there's this desire to want to sanitize people who rocked with this president. But quite truthfully, we always knew who Donald Trump was. He was very clear about that on the campaign trail. So this is someone that you still opted to align yourself with. You still opted to go out there and advocate for him. You still opted to join the administration. So if you weren't radicalized, were you an opportunist? And if so, what happens when the next opportunity presents itself?
So, I got something wrong about Mr. Trump. I thought at age 70 that he was going to be a transformative politician and a post-partisan politician. I got that wrong. As I tell my kids, if you get something wrong, you admit you're wrong. It's okay to get something wrong, Tiffany. It's not okay to stay wrong. 2 years ago, I said there's something wrong with the guy. And for 24 months, I worked very hard on making sure that he didn't get reelected. I put a lot of money up in that, a lot of effort. I like the camera almost as much as you like the camera. And I went out and did tremendous amounts of media advocacy against him. And we built a coalition that defeated him. So I'm not exactly sure where you're coming from on this. What do you want to do with these people, the 74 million people that voted for Mr. Trump? Would you like to hive them off the country and ship them out into the Atlantic Ocean? What would you like to do with them, Tiffany?
Yeah, so I think it's just really important that we have very honest conversations about where we are as a country. And quite frankly, Trump never hid his misogyny. He never hid his racism. He never hid his xenophobia. So it's always interesting to me when there's this coalition of people who try to sanitize folks such as yourself and present them as though, we forgive you.
Are you trying to sanitize
so that was the intention of the question. I am certainly not trying to sanitize you. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to figure out why. Sure. I just want to give you the opportunity because you did seem like you were radicalized. It wasn't a secret about who he was. But I do want to turn to you, Nathan, because I think that you can offer my whole point.
Just answer the question. Are you trying to
when you get a show, invite me on and I'll happily come answer your questions. But I want to talk about these actual races because I think it is important to figure out if Ivanka has a chance to win in Florida, if Sarah Huckabee Sanders has a chance to win in Arkansas. So, Nathan, and you brought up the Bible tweeter, Senator Marco Rubio. I mean, I think it is interesting that he has been making these appeals, right? Like he tweets out these, statements that appear to be overly supportive of Trump that I read as like, please don't hurt me, Trump. I mean, he's essentially reek to Lord Bolton at this point. So, but there's not just Ivanka. You also have Nikki Haley, who may be looking at a 2024 run. Do you think that this Senate map as it is right now, do you think there are people who will leapfrog over that and just eye 2024? Nathan, that's to you.
Yeah, certainly, because then there are some senators who are not up for reelection, or, Governor Haley is not a governor or ambassador anymore. And so she's not going to challenge Tim Scott in a primary, who is up for reelection in 2022. And so, yeah, you have lots of aspiring politicians who have their eye on different things. And my question is, how relevant or how influential is President Trump in 2 years and in 4 years? We know what is the situation now, but what is it going to be like? And I'm not convinced that he's going to have this exact same influence now than when we get down the line. And I'll add that this Senate trial, the impeachment trial, and whether Republicans convict him and bar him from future office is important, because President Trump is using the Republican Party as a vehicle to get where he wants to go. If he can't run for office, I don't know what use the Republican Party is for him anymore, and I don't know what the next chapter then is if he can't run again.
Yeah. So, Anthony, let me ask you, where does the MAGA Party go from here?
Well, I'm hoping that we can put a dent in the MAGA Party and disintegrate it. And I'm hoping that we can also put a dent in morally righteous media nonsense, because we need to disintegrate that as well. And we've got to get back into the center and unify the country and start working on policies that are right for America as opposed to left or right for America. And so I'll be continuing to work on that. And if Mr. Trump can't run again, I do agree with Nathan. He'll drop this very quickly, because it's always been about his personal self-interest.
Interesting. Thank you so much. To my old colleague, Nathan Gonzalez, we started our careers together more than 20 years ago at CNN. So great to have you on the show, Nathan. I appreciate your insight. And Anthony Scaramuche, I have no doubt that you will show up again on the TV screen again soon. Thank you for making the time to join me today. And don't go anywhere at home, because up next, it's one of the buzziest words in politics right now. But what does it really mean? Don't